to awaken him, how will he find us when he comes?
Awake and ready.
And when he asks us to dedicate ourselves ever more perfectly to him, how will he find us?
Awake and ready.
Heavenly Father,
Heavenly Father,
Divine Mother,
Divine Mother,
Friend, beloved God,
Friend, beloved God,
Great Masters,
Great Masters,
Jesus Christ,
Jesus Christ,
Babaji Krishna,
Babaji Krishna,
Lahiri Mahashaya,
Lahiri Mahashaya,
Swami Shri Yukteswar,
Swami Shri Yukteswar,
Paramahansa Yogananda,
Paramahansa Yogananda,
Saints of all religions,
Saints of all religions,
we humbly invoke thy presence.
we humbly invoke thy presence.
We invite you
We invite you
into our hearts,
into our hearts,
into our consciousness,
into our consciousness,
into our lives.
into our lives.
Change our darkness
Change our darkness
into thy blazing light of infinity,
into thy blazing light of infinity,
and make us your fit channels,
and make us your fit
that
channels,
we may share your blessing
that we may share your blessings
in our daily life.
in our daily lives.
Oh, peace.
Peace.
Amen.
Good morning, friends. Please have a seat. I've known them forever, they've haunted my slumber and called to me out of the deeps of space. The love that they promise has helped me remember another time a caring embrace. Dark eyes in the morning, dark eyes in the evening, dark eyes in the starlight at end of day, dark eyes that speak silence, they whisper, come find me, you'll never know true love if you stay. Now I seek them in the winter time, oh I seek them in the spring. Those two dark eyes draw my heart away to where sun and moon sing. I laugh now in the summertime when ripples on the river play. I laugh soaring with the meadowlarks, love has made my heart gay. I laugh soaring with the meadowlarks, love has made my heart gay. I've known them forever, they've haunted my slumber and called to me out of the deeps of space. The love that they promise has helped me remember another time a caring embrace. Another time a caring embrace.
Continue to meditate with the gaze uplifted as you listen to these words on our affirmation for this week, contentment. Contentment has been said to be the supreme virtue. Contentment means living to the fullest, the good of every passing moment. Above all, it means living behind the present moment, in the eternal now. How much is lost in life by people who perennially wish things other than they are, who complain unceasingly and tell themselves that the world owes them more than it is giving them. We must smile inwardly with God, knowing that life is His dream. Contentment is the surest way of drawing the very best out of every circumstance. And let's affirm together, first in a strong voice, through life's mightiest storms, I am contented.
Through life's mightiest storms, I am contented.
For I hold in my heart heart God's peace.
For I hold in my heart God's peace.
Taking it a little more inward now. Through life's mightiest storms, I am contented.
Through life's mightiest storms, I am contented.
For I hold in my heart God's peace.
For I hold in my heart God's peace.
And in a whisper now, through life's mightiest storms, I am contented. For I hold in my heart God's peace. And now taking it silently to the point between the eyebrows, broadcasting it with the deepest focus. Through life's mightiest storms, I am contented. For I hold in my heart God's peace. Through life's mightiest storms, I am contented. For I hold in my heart God's peace. And pray silently with me. Lord, as you live eternally at rest in yourself, so let me live also, contented ever, that I may be worthy of living in your joy. Om. Peace. Amen. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to our Sunday service. My name is Dharmadevi for any of those who I haven't met, and this is my husband Narayan. Welcome to those joining online as well. I'm reading to you from Rays of the One Light, weekly commentaries on the Bible and the Bhagavad Gita by Swami Ananda. And this week's topic, can man see God? Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. And there is a saying in chapter 1 of the Gospel of St. John that would seem to respond with a definite no to the question, can man see God? The saying is, no man hath seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, which is in the bosom of the Father, he hath declared him. Many great saints, however, claim to have seen God. If we ask then, can God be seen, rather than can man see God, the answer is yes. Else those saints lied, and the scriptures themselves lied. For Jesus also said, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. The point is, it is not man, this human body, these human eyes that sees God. God can be seen only with spiritual vision, with the eye of the soul. As the Bhagavad Gita puts it in the 11th chapter, thou canst not see me with mortal eyes, therefore I now give thee sight divine. Behold my supreme power of yoga. With these words, Hari, the exalted Lord of Yoga, revealed himself to Arjuna in his infinite form. Paramahansa Yogananda in Autobiography of a Yogi describes the supernal experience in words more readily comprehensible to modern minds than the poetic phraseology of the Bhagavad Gita. The chapter, An Experience in Cosmic Consciousness, is one of the most inspiringly beautiful in all mystical literature. Here is a brief excerpt. An oceanic joy broke upon calm, endless shores of my soul. The Spirit of God, I realized, is exhaustless bliss. His body is countless tissues of light. I saw the divine dispersion of rays pour from an eternal source, blazing into galaxies, transfigured with ineffable auras. Again and again I saw the creative beams condense into constellations, then resolve into sheets of transparent flame. By rhythmic reversion, sextillion worlds passed into diaphanous luster. Fire became firmament. I cognized the center of the Imperium to be as a point of intuitive perception in my heart. Irradiating splendor issued from my nucleus to every part of the universal structure. The creative voice of God I heard resounding as Om, the vibration of the cosmic motor. This, so the great masters aver, is what God is, and this also, they insist, is what we are in our deepest reality. Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind.
Good morning, friends.
Good morning.
I'm actually going to share the whispers at the end today, Yogananda's book of the prayer demands. I wanted to pick up this topic about can man see God from a playful spirit. You know, I think adults, we can get play deprived, and we can kind of take things a little too seriously at times. As I was mentioning, Paul had that delightful description for his upcoming yoga workshop, terminal seriousness. So it's a disease that we all can suffer from. And I don't know if you've probably, many of you since we were in Hollywood and Los Angeles, has seen the movie, daggone it, I forgot the name of the movie.
We've seen that.
Andre the Giant.
Princess Bride.
Thank you, the Princess Bride. And there's that scene in the Princess Bride where Andre the Giant is scaring people, and they dress him up even as a bigger giant. And he's got this, thick accent. And hey, giant, you can't even barely make out what he's saying. He's scaring them. He's playing, but he's trying to scare them. And we have this purification ceremony, at Ananda that we do before service. And sometimes when we have time, Dharmadevi and I will do it as well with each other in the back. And so this is like a month or two ago, and I said to Dharmadevi, I seek purification by the grace of God. And she responded, "And the Master." She was playing with me. Isn't this the nature of God as a playful spirit? He is to be worshipped in spirit and truth. But what is that spirit? It's as Master described in his experience, his nature is exhaustless bliss. Right? Talk about something that is playful. Why do we love to play hide and seek? Isn't it like an eternal game with children? Tag, you're it. That's a different game, I guess. Which is also a playful game. Tag, you're it. There's also hide and seek. There's something about this playful spirit of God. And, it is said, it's what Christ said, become childlike. Right? It's not that we're becoming childish and we go to work and we're just, laughing and not taking anything seriously. But, Bharat, our friend Joseph Cornell, the world-famous naturalist Bharat, has written this incredible book. I want to share it with George after. It's called Deep Nature Play. And it's beautiful. He's sharing the principles of sharing nature. What Bharat, as a child, he had this incredible experience of nature. He was about, 7 or 8, and it was a foggy morning, and there was this great mist, and all of a sudden you heard this and then he looked for the sound, and out of the fog he realized he was a flock of white geese were flying literally just yards above his head, and they went and he saw them for about 5 or 7 beautiful moments. And he said just that one moment of being immersed in nature, in the mountain thou art high, in the river thou art restless, in the white geese thou art beautiful, right? Oh God, beautiful. Oh God, beautiful. He's the most beautiful thing because he's beyond creation, right? He's that beauty within creation. And so one of the ways that we can feel God and see God, as this whole reading is talking about, how can we see God, is to look for beauty in the world. Look for goodness. Look to the higher potential in people and your friends, and try to draw that out of them. Right? We're all a mixed bag. Okay? Yeah, if we were born in this world, we still have things to work out. But we can look to the highest in each other. And Swami had that one experience of, he said he had this window, I think it was at Mount Washington, and it had rained and it had gotten dirty and muddy, and then he just was busy, and then, a few weeks later he finally had time, he cleaned the window, and then he went back inside and was working, and he looked through the window out into nature, and he said, "Oh, what a beautiful window." And then he smiled to himself. He realized it was because he couldn't see the window. It was because he could see through it. You see, that's what the great masters are. They're the great flawless mirrors of God, just reflecting that great light and joy of God. There's a saying in the Bible that I never understood, but I stumbled upon it in The Imitation of Christ, which is an incredible book. They shall throw their crowns down before the throne. And what Thomas à Kempis was really saying there is that higher, the more elevated saints get, the less they think of themselves. They throw their crowns down, their realization before the throne of God. Every atom is God's throne. Right? So remember Babaji. I am cleaning the utensils of this sadhu to demonstrate, and he was doing that for Lahiri. Once Lahiri had just that little carping thought, that little judgmental attitude. And he said, I am here cleaning the bowl and the utensils of this sadhu to show God, to demonstrate the most pleasing virtue to God, humility. They shall throw their crowns down before the throne. The great ones think less of themselves. I found such joy in that affirmation. I am nothing, thou art everything. It's just like we're nothing before God. But it's not a nothing. You heard that joke about the rabbi and his assistant and rabbi. I am nothing, and he threw himself down before the altar, and then his assistant saw him doing it. I am nothing, and he threw himself down, and then the janitor, seeing them, he cast himself before the altar. I am nothing. And the rabbi nudged the assistant and said, look who thinks he's nothing. It's like Swami said, we can become even proud of our humility. We have to, I am nothing, thou art everything. The true is, it's in that release, it's in that letting go that there is the joy. There's a whole Upanishad. There's just one line of this scripture in India, this Upanishad, is let go and rejoice. We just have to let go. We have to let go of all these, the fancy frozen boundaries that we were holding on to that are blocking us. So what is preventing us from seeing God? It's not playing. We need to play more. And I don't mean, running around, but actually, no, we do need to run around too. We need to play. Get out in nature, go sit by a tree and just be. What did Swami say? The lilt of the water will gather your worries and carry them down to the sea. Get back to nature, get back to the simplicity. What's one of the greatest ways to play with nature? Is to play with the nature of your own self. Kriya Yoga, sit in the silence. We don't need to talk about it. That's why, like Sunday service, I almost feel like we should put on Charlie Brown's Teacher. Wah, wah, wah. No one can understand Charlie Brown's Teacher. must be better off than I did. I've taken this self-deprecation too far. No, it's good for us to talk and share in this way because we're reminding each other. We're coming back to our tuning fork and getting back in tune every week, every day, every moment. But you see that process of attunement, it's a balance, right? It's a balance between, well, there is a story of the Buddha which illustrates this. The Buddha had a disciple, Ananda was his name. And this disciple became so distraught and so grief-stricken with the suffering, the pain in the world, and he just couldn't wrap his mind around it. And he started just to walk in circles. He was just so ruminating over all the suffering and everything in the world that literally his feet began to bleed. And Ananda played the veena. He was a beautiful musician. He sang and he played this music, stringed like a guitar, stringed musical instrument. And he would play this instrument. And so the Buddha, seeing him in such despair, said, Ananda, come to me and bring your veena and come and play for me. But before you do, I want you to take your strings and loosen them. Loosen the strings, make them very slack. And so he did, and he said, well, my Lord, but with the strings this slack I cannot play. It has no resonance, it has no sound. And he said, oh yes, you are right. He said, now I want you to tighten the strings, tighten them more and more and more and more. And he said, Lord, if I go beyond, I'm going to break the strings. And he said, my dear Ananda, I was trying to use this to illustrate the point, that it's with your attunement, with your mind, you need to strike that balance of being relaxed and yet attentive. And so when we can take that attitude into our meditation, into our daily life, to play more. You know, this is what Bharat was sharing in that book, is that when we play, we're immersed, right? Athletes talk about being in the zone, right? Everything dropped away. Your MJ, right? Sliding back for the 3 or whatever. Everything drops away. You get immersed in the moment. You forget yourself. I am nothing, thou art everything, but it's an actual experience of that. So when you play more, you're immersed more. You're focused more. You actually learn more. You take in more. So if we can take that attitude of being playful into our meditation and into our activity, how fruitful and how joyful our life will become. And that is our destiny. Remember, this is what Krishna is saying to Arjuna. It is your destiny to become one with that exhaustless bliss. I wanted to close by sharing the Whispers from Eternity, which is talking about this playful spirit of God. It's actually a poem that Yogananda wrote called I Am Here. It's a little longer, so I invite you to close your eyes, sit upright, invite the playful spirit of God into your heart and your consciousness. Alone I roamed by the ocean's shore and watched the wrestling waves in brawling roar. Bounding with thine own restless life, I saw thee in thy angry mood, tossing and foaming, until the very vastness of thy wrath made me shiver, and turn away in dread from so much violence and strife. And then I walked inland. A kindly spreading sentinel tree waved friendly arms to comfort me, consoling me with gentler looks sublime. Its leaves and branches swayed in tender lullaby rhyme, conveying a message that I knew was thine. Above me high I saw the gaugeless mystic sky, and childlike in dim valleys I sought to pry out thy secrets and to play with thee. In vain, alas, did I seek thee hiding there, cloud-robed, foam-sprayed, leaf-garlanded, too elusive for mortal eyes to see or ears to hear, and yet I knew that thou wert always near, as if playing hide and seek with me, receding each time when I almost touched thee. I grope for thee in the maddeningly complex folds of dark ignorance, as old as time itself is old. At last I ceased my search, almost in despair. What hope had I of finding thee, thou royal sly eluder? Thou art, I know, everywhere, yet thou seemest nowhere, lost in unplumbed space, where none may clasp thee or behold thy face. Yes, despairing, I ceased my fruitless search, turned huffily away from thee. My ploy was unsuccessful. Still no answer from the wrathful sea, and only whispers from the friendly tree. Naught but silence from the limitless blue sky, silence from valleys low and mountains high. Like a hurt child within the depths of me, I hid and sulked, no longer seeking thee. And then, lo, suddenly, unheralded, an unseen hand snatched from my eyes that all black band, which had blinded me so long with fold on fold, no longer weary, but filled with strength untold. I stood and gazed again. A laughing sea instead of wrathful roars, a gray, glad world with mystically opening doors, with only mists of dreams between. Someone beside me stood unseen and whispered to me calm and clear, "Hello, playmate, I am here."